Right now at 5, heartbreak in Hartland as we are following a developing story. 6 people there dead after an apartment fire.
At this hour, police are calling it a criminal investigation. Now, this fire broke out just after 5 a.m. near Mansfield Court and Oxford Drive.
We have team coverage this afternoon. Susan Kim and Ben Jordan, both in Hartland near that building. We'll begin with Susan.
Steve and Carol, good afternoon, everyone. I am live in Hartland, just up the street from where that fire occurred. I'm going to step out of the way here so you can get a better look. You can see law enforcement and fire trucks still at the scene. The building that was on fire is at the end of the cul-de-sac. Now, the chief for the Hartland Police Department did update us a short time ago. Our Ben Jordan joins me live now with more on what the chief of police had to say. Ben, good afternoon.
Susan, the biggest update from the police chief this afternoon was the number of victims who died. He says it is now 6 rather than 7, as first responders initially thought. Now, a lot of questions remain unanswered after that news conference, such as the ages and possible relation of the victims, how this fire started, and why this is a criminal investigation. An apartment fire in Hartland turns into a criminal investigation after first responders find 6 people dead inside.
It's devastating. This is a quiet, wonderful neighborhood to live in.
Village President Jeffrey Fannerstill says the entire community is shocked and saddened.
I don't have words to describe it. I know I see the faces of the fire personnel that have been involved in it, the police that have been involved, the people that showed up on that scene initially and had to, do their jobs. That's not something that goes out of the mind psychologically very quickly. 911
calls started pouring in shortly after 5 a.m. and police and fire crews rushed to a 4-family apartment complex at the end of a neighborhood cul-de-sac. The Red Cross of Wisconsin says 10 people made it out alive, 5 of whom were children. Hartland Police Chief Torin Misko says some escaped on their own, others were saved by first responders.
Our initial response was for life safety. Once we determined that we provided that life safety assistance, then things slowed down into more of a recovery effort at that point.
Chief Misko says this is a tragedy for all of Hartland and the crews who arrived to the devastating scene. Now the department is working to positively identify the victims and notify their families. Were any of the victims children?
We're still working through all that. It's an active investigation. We're trying to get positive identification.
While Chief Misko says there is no longer a danger to the area, the Wisconsin Fire Marshal and the state's Division of Criminal Investigations are here to determine how and why this fire started. This isn't just a fatal fire. There is a criminal investigation going on right behind us. How does that aspect make you feel?
It saddens me. It scares me. But I think it wakes us up to the fact that it doesn't have to be a big city. It can be anywhere.
And Hartland's village president commended all of the people who brought food to the local police and fire stations, those who responded to this fire early this morning. He says much more will be needed for the victims who are displaced from this apartment complex and this broader neighborhood over the coming days. Susan?
All right, Ben Jordan reporting live for us. Ben, thank you very much. And neighbors described a frantic scene earlier this morning, breaking the silence of the early morning hours in this beautiful neighborhood in a pocket of Hartland. You can see here people out enjoying a beautiful fall afternoon, some going on walks today, others doing yard work, going for a walk with their children. They say it is somber here today with news that 6 of their neighbors are now gone.
Very shocked. Yeah. Like I said, when I knew a whole bunch of fire engines were coming down, I knew something bad happened.
We've been awake because the fire trucks all, lots of them going by our house.
Yeah, they knew that when they heard all those fire trucks going through, they knew when they were all those fire trucks were going through their neighborhood that it was not going to be a good situation. And one neighbor told me that she had counted 15 trucks and just became very concerned. And then, of course, later learned that 6 of her neighbors had passed. A very somber day here in Hartland. Steve and Carol, back to you in the studio.
Just devastating to think about the lives lost in that building this morning. Susan, thank you so much.
Thank you, Susan.